Hello friends, my name is Steve and this is Steve Talks Books. Thanks for coming by watching my weekly update, and I'm sorry for this huge microphone in the picture. My little microphone arm stand thing is giving me trouble, so had to change it up this week. So sorry if it's kind of in the way. And just a heads up, this might be a longer update than usual. I try to keep them short and it never works out, but since I didn't have an update last week, this week might be a little bit longer than normal, so feel free to do double speed to get through this one, because I'll try and keep it quick, but I'm catching them on 2 weeks and I'm apparently long-winded, so heads up. If you're new here, I read primarily grimdark and horror, but I read a little bit of everything. I'm open to anything. I also like to talk to people, hear their stories, and just shoot the shit with people. I think it's fun. So you'll see a lot of those types of videos on the channel as well. So let's catch up on what I've been reading these last 2 weeks. So I did finish Echoes of Blood. It's the second book in the Rift cycle by Halo Scott. And the first book is Edge of the Breach, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. The second book is more focused on the characters. It kind of zones in on them, and you learn a lot more about the main characters. Something that Halo is really great at doing is creating that sense of panic after something really bad happens, like if there's a bomb that goes off, or death and destruction. Really great at describing those moments and making you feel disoriented and making you feel like you're in the middle of all this confusion and chaos. But Halo was really great at creating that sense of panic and that sense of confusion after scenes like that, and also really great at describing violence because this series, the first book, I think is more violent than the second book. It's still violent, but not as bad. But I am churning along, and we're having a spoiler-filled chat with Halo once I finish that series. So I plan to churn through those books here in the next couple of months. So the second one, and also Echoes of Blood, I was surprised by the ending. I had some predictions for the series that I was totally wrong on. So it's fun. In a way, I'm kind of bummed because I didn't predict it, but it's cool to be surprised too. So it's one of those things. I also read The Heroes by Joe Abercrombie. We had a discussion on Yolene's channel with Amazing Worlds, and we discussed that book. So with The Heroes, I wasn't a huge fan of the first standalone book, but The Heroes was okay. I think it was fine. I'm not sure it needed to be as long as it was to tell the story it was telling. I think it was trying to get by it's a commentary on war and governments and bureaucracy and violence and all that kind of thing. And well, I think it was okay. I'm just not sure it had to be that long, and I'm not sure it needed to be its own book. But it was fine. I mean, it wasn't the greatest. It wasn't my least favorite, but it was okay. We also did. I've also been reading The Hand That Casts the Bone by Holly Tinsley, or H.L. Tinsley is her pen name. I have an arc for it. It's the follow-up to We Men of Ash and Shadow. And if you've seen my review for We Men of Ash and Shadow, I enjoyed it quite a bit. It's one of my favorite books of last year. So I was excited to have the opportunity to read this one, and I am almost done. I'm recording this on Saturday night, and I plan to have it done by Sunday. So I am enjoying it quite a bit. I think it is a lot funnier than I expected it to be, but funnier in a good way, in a dry, droll sense of humor, like a character interactions funny type of way. And that's my kind of humor. If you've been around a little while, you may have heard me say that before. So looking forward to that. And as soon as I can, I'll have a review out for it. I'm not sure if there's an embargo on reviews, or of course I don't do spoiler reviews, but I'll have that as soon as I can when it's getting ready. And I believe the cover reveal is very soon, so keep your eyes peeled for that. So as soon as I finish The Hand That Casts the Bone, I'll be getting into The Grey Bastards by Jonathan French. We are starting a group read for that series starting this month, and I believe our first meetup for the first book is on April 2nd. I don't think we've planned a time just yet, but if you'd like to join, it's on the forum if you'd like to join us for that. And after the last book, we are having a meetup with Mr. French to discuss the entire series of spoiler-filled discussions. So if you'd like to join us, like I said, it's open to anyone who wants to join. And because The Grey Bastards isn't a huge book, I plan to be starting Deadhouse Gates right after that, in preparation for a meetup next month for Deadhouse Gates. I want to give myself enough time to really dig into it, and it's a pretty big book, so I don't want to be rushing through it at the last minute like I normally am. So I'm trying to be better about that. Before we get into what's been happening on the channel the last 2 weeks, I just want to say thanks to everyone who reached out to me last weekend with your support and your friendship. I had a moment, so I won't get into details, but I had a had a moment. But thanks to everyone who reached out with concerns and support. People that I did not expect to reached out to me just to say, hey, just checking on me, kind of thing. So it's all good now, but I was having a moment, and so if you were one of those people that reached out to me, thank you very much. I really, really appreciate it. And like I said, people had no idea, even paid attention to what was going on with me or anything else. So it was a really nice surprise. So thank you, everyone, for your support. So the last 2 weeks have been very busy. The interview with Jonathan French posted last week. My interview with Dirk Ashton also posted last week. The Conqueror's Blood discussion with Lana from Lore and Lullabies, Taylor from Made Between the Pages, and author P.L. Stewart. We met with Zamil Akhtar to discuss Conqueror's Blood, and that was on the Sunday morning after the time change, and it was 5 a.m. for me. It was really 4 a.m. when you count the time change, because we went backwards with the clocks. But we're all over the world, so we had to, it was never going to work out for all of us. So, but there is just something special when that group gets together. There's just something great about all of us together, that we just have this chemistry with each other, that we just have the best time, and everyone's really comfortable, and it just has that. It's just very, very unusual to generate chemistry like that with people so quickly, but we have such a great time together, and we're doing an episode of Page Chewing together to chat even more. So that's coming here in the next couple of weeks. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Also, last week, my interview with T.L. Coughlin, she wrote Of Us and Them, posted. That was another wonderful interview. She writes YA. So I think that was a great chance for me to talk to someone who writes outside of the genres I usually discuss, or I usually talk to, authors I usually have interviews with. So it's a different type of interview a little bit, because I had to take a little bit of a different approach, but TL is just wonderful. And so check that out if you haven't already. I also recorded an interview with GM Nair that will be posting next week probably. And also we recorded our second episode of Page Chewing with author P.L. Stewart. And our guest was Jenny Wirtz. And that was one hell of a time. During that interview, I tried to be quiet as much as possible and just let Jenny talk, because she's so inspiring, just so full of wisdom and knowledge, that it was when we stopped recording the interview, we stopped recording and Jenny jumped off, and PL and I were there, and I just told him, wow, that was great. It was just so much fun. And all these interviews, you have a different feeling coming away from them. Like you have a different kind of energy or different takeaway from them. So they're all special in their own way. Jenny was just, that was, she had me wanting to start writing. She's so inspiring, and not only with writing not only with writing or being creative, but just being determined and to go out there and make things happen for yourself. I think we all need that kick in the pants once in a while. So I was blown away by Jenny. Just wonderful some wonderful stuff. Also last week, yesterday, you're watching this on Sunday. On Saturday, I did have an interview with Thomas Howard Riley. He wrote We Break Immortals. That will be posting in another week or so. And also in the last 2 weeks, I did post the House of Leaves review and the Manifest Delusion series reviews, or the Let's Talk About videos. Also, I want to mention the last week, my collaboration with Voices from the Mausoleum, Angel and her channel, the top 5 werewolf movies video we did posted the previous Thursday. So check that out. And then this coming Thursday will be a grief horror discussion. We talk about different movies with grief horror. I didn't know grief horror was a thing until I did my top 5 influential movies with her on her channel. and I just discovered I like miserable movies with lots of grief. So I guess it makes sense. I mean, I guess it wasn't too much of a surprise because I'm a miserable, miserable person apparently. But so we decided to do a grief horror discussion. We talked about Hereditary, which she's not shy in saying she hates those movies, but I really liked Hereditary. So we have a fun discussion about what worked and what didn't work. We have a couple of movies that did not work for one of us, and then one that did work for both of us. So check that out on this Thursday on her channel. And then the top 5 werewolf movies that I'm apparently really shitty at picking werewolf movies because I had trouble picking werewolf movies, but check that one out too. So this week on the channel, my interview with GM Nair will post later on this week, and my interview with Armenis R. Final, I know I mispronounced her name, I'm really sorry, the author of Holy Grail War. I'll be recording that video this coming week. And also next Saturday will be episode 3 of Page Chewing, and our guests will be Holly Tinsley and Tim Hardy. That's next Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And also this week, my review for Brian Bauer's Flesh Rehearsal will post. That video is almost done, so that will be released this coming week. So a couple of quick notes I wanted to mention to anyone who follows the channel or is curious about what I have going on, what I have planned. I have 7 more interviews planned through May. That's the last of the interviews I have planned with authors. Because of some recent events, I'm going to be changing my approach on those a little bit. And then plus with StokerCon in May, I'll be gone for about a week in Denver. So I won't have much planned that month, but I'll be doing less of those interviews. Plus I'll be doing Page Showing with P.L. Stewart. So I'm going to be planning those out a little bit better, spreading them around a little bit more, and doing shorter videos here and there. So I may not be doing 3 or 4 videos a week anymore, but I'll still be consistent with content. At least Sundays, Wednesdays, and Fridays will be typically or have been my days to post. But just want to give everyone a heads up on that change here coming up soon. I still have a backlog of interviews, so we're still a whiles away, but just want to give people a heads up. Also want to mention that our group read for War for the Rose Throne by Peter McLean, that series will be starting that group read very soon, and Yolene Reads will be hosting those meetups and the meetup with author Peter McLean here in the next couple of months. That is also open to anyone who wants to join us. So if you want to join, jump on the forum and check out the dates and times that we have scheduled. We tried to do those earlier in the day US time. Also, Books with Zara is joining me for the deep dive into The Winter Road with author Adrian Selby. We have 1 spot left on that on stream if you'd like to join us. Of course, if you just want to join us in the chat, there's a limit to that. But if you do want to join on screen or on camera, let me know because I have 1 spot left. I'm also hoping to record some more short stories here very soon to have 7 that I can release in a week's time. My weeks have been super busy. I've had a lot of stuff at work going on, and it's been nothing's going right kind of thing. Just been working 10, 11, 12-hour days sometimes, so it's been kind of hectic and haven't got a lot done. So I'm working on that still. It'll be out hopefully soon. So tell me what you've been doing. How have your weeks been? What have you been watching, listening to, or reading? We've been watching The Last Kingdom again. We started the series and kind of fell off, and we started watching it here and there a little bit more. And we did finish Peacemaker. And I think when I first started watching that series, I did mention it on Weekly Update how it was a little bit too much James Gunn. It was a little bit too much on the nose. It didn't have that any subtlety. It was just all in. And while I guess that's fine. It just the end of the series was just I was kind of over all the dick jokes and all that kind of thing. It was okay, but it needed a little bit of nuance to be entertaining for a long series. If it was just a 2-hour movie, it may have been okay, but for 6 hours, it was kind of, I don't know. It was okay. It just went overboard too many times, and by the end, I was ready for it to be over. And lately, with my busy schedule, the last couple of weeks been really busy. I've been listening to a lot of like 90s music. That's my comfort music, my comfort food, because it's predictable. I know what to expect. So usually when I have little time, I'll go back and listen to that kind of music just because it's, it's like a winter hoodie, like you put it on and you know what to expect and it just fits just right. That's just 90s music for me. So what is your comfort music? Tell me about you. When you're short on time or when you just want to feel comfortable, you want to put on that old winter hoodie. What is your preferred genre or time period of music? What makes you just feel like it's safe and predictable? You can go back and do it, and you kind of like feel like you're at home. Tell me tell me about you and what your comfort music is. Also, during our conversation with Jenny Wirtz, she mentioned that her Kindle recently was deactivated because it was too old, and I think she lost all her books off of it that she had. She had a ton of books, and I've never really been a fan of digital media. I'm one of those weirdos who likes to have physical media everywhere and big shelves that are disorganized. So yes, I still buy music. I like having the digital media. I like having it in my hands. And while the Kindle is cool, there's nothing beats holding the media for me. So I wanted to ask all of you who prefer digital, do you ever wonder what would happen if they turn off that switch? Because you never know when that switch might be flipped and all this can be gone. You never know. It could happen. Is it ever a concern for you? Do you ever wonder about that, or do you just not? It's not something that crosses your mind.
Well, digital is fake reality. Digital is just a promise that might not be kept tomorrow.
So tell me about your week, what you've been up to. Want to hear about your music, your comfort music, and about digital media. Let me know down below. And again, thanks to all of you for your support. I really appreciate it. It's this YouTube stuff can be a grind sometimes, and it is what it is. No complaints because I choose to do this. I just want to say that I really appreciate all of you, and the comments and the good vibes is what keeps me coming back. So I really appreciate all of you who come and watch, and thumbs up, comment, all that stuff. Thanks for these little comments. Like someone commented on one of my interviews recently that they really enjoyed watching them. It was like a big boost. It makes a big difference. So thanks to all of you who come by to do that kind of thing. And you can also find me on the podcast. All the long form discussions are on the podcast. So if you'd like to listen, but you can't sit in front of YouTube all day, if you'd rather listen on the go or in your car and you commute while you work out or whatever, all that stuff is on the podcast and all the major podcasting platforms. So again, thank you for your time. I appreciate all of you who watch and all of your support. I'll leave all the links down below for all the stuff I'm referencing. And hope you have a great week, and I will talk to you soon.